So, hacks. Hacks. This is a locked up computer. You can see that it has one of those style of locks. Sorry that that's blurry. And yeah, it's kind of securely fastened. Hard to get off. Now, of course, there are two methods of entrance. Both of them are locked. There's the same sort of lock here, and there's one here. The idea being that if you're actually locking up your computer, you don't want them to come in through the front or the side. Unfortunately, Antec has made this fairly insecure, and so with a fairly simple screwdriver, this is actually a feature in their manual. They actually, advertise this. The idea is you can take this front panel off, and the idea is to just push something down here. And it doesn't actually harm the case at all. You can maybe kind of see that it's supposed to flex out of the way for that. And then, of course, you pull up on this part here to get that out, and then you just drop it down. The lock, as you can see, is something of a pointy thing that points up into this space right here. So that's how the lock works. It turns out that this thing was built with an error tolerance. Let's see if I can put it back on with one hand. On, in, up. So it turns out that this lock has a sort of jiggle tolerance that lets you just open it automatically if you're suave enough. I don't know how much of that is because there's a little catch here that's actually broken on this particular computer, so you might just have to go in through this thing. But yeah, it's not a hard task to complete to just open it straightforwardly. But of course, maybe this is sealed up tight. Maybe that's just the front. And maybe you want to get in through the sides because it has better access. In that case, you have to get in through here. Now, the side doesn't have any obvious security holes in it, okay? This is grabbed in on a metal slider. I think these sides are as well. The back should have 2 screws in it, but I've unscrewed them already. So there's really just this lock, and what this lock does is it pushes a plastic bar. I mean, just to show you from here. This thing again has this plastic nub on there. This thing has the same general architecture, and the plastic nub either points sideways out of the way of this catch, or that way in the way of that catch, depending on how the lock is turned. So, lock turned that way, then this doesn't open, and this is a full-length plastic catch. So, it may seem like there's really no avoiding this, and you really have to pick this lock. Fortunately, I have the enemy of this lock right here, more specifically this part. What you do is you just chew it a little bit. And by a little, I mean a lot, apparently. Because beak pens have this nice little plastic end. What you'll see is that end can slide right on top of this lock. Again, sorry about the focus, my camera doesn't autofocus. And can just be used to turn the thing over that way and open up the computer. I guess it's not actually catching on these 2 sides, they just sit on the rails. But whatever, it's firmly supported on those 2 sides. You can kind of see here, plastic U, or metal U, big plastic catch thing. And you can see that this plastic piece sits in front of the lock when it's supposed to be locking it. So that's how you take apart this particular system. And the plus note to the lockpick is, well, I'm not sure if it's going to do it again. but it should have the tension that you need to just swivel it back in place. It is now completely locked again. There is no evidence that tampering has taken place. All I needed to do was use a big pen. That's a general property of these sorts of locks, and there was a famous case of kryptonite locks which used this general system, which could also be picked by a beak pen. I really don't have anything more to say about that except breaking into stuff is awesome. So I'll leave you with that.